An estate plan is the greatest gift you're ever going to give your family. It not only preserves your assets so that you can pass on the fruits of all of your hard work over the course of your lifetime, but it also is an amazing tool to preserve relationships between those that you leave behind.
Hi, this is Jerry Pletica with Touching Hearts at Home here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Recently, I was at a health fair here in the area, and an estate lawyer, Linda Roberts-Ross, spoke about how important it is to get your estate plan in place as soon as possible. This is great content I'm sure you will appreciate.
My name is Linda Roberts-Ross. I am an attorney. I've been doing estate planning for approximately 25 years. I'm licensed in California, Washington, and Idaho. Some people have a relatively modest estate. Some people have huge estates that are complex. Do you own a business? Do you own multiple properties? How many heirs or beneficiaries are you going to name? Are you going to include, charities? Do you have pets that need to be taken care of and money allocated for it? Do you have a child or grandchild with special needs that has a greater need for your assets than the rest of your family members? There's all these different layers to the onion. And when I prepare an estate plan for someone, I give them a very, very long questionnaire, and it's to detail all of the things that you own, all of the people in your life. Who do you want to be making these decisions for you? And the knee-jerk reaction in a lot of families is, well, the oldest child. That's horrible. That's a horrible way to make those selections, because there are specific skill sets needed by the people who are going to fill these roles. Because when I do a trust for someone, I ask that they give me the names of at least the initial successor trustee plus 2 others, because you're dealing with people who are usually a bit younger. Their lives might change and morph such that they may not be available at the time you need to tap them for that job. And I say you, but I'm talking about your successor trustee. If they're not available, then it's a waterfall kind of selection. This one is going to be first, this one's second, this one's third. But you have to identify people as a successor trustee. That skill set is comprised of somebody who's got their own financial house in order. Doesn't mean they have to be rich, but they know how to budget. They know how to, handle finances. Arguably somebody with some life experience under their belt, so that they're not a 20-year-old that doesn't have any clue about how anything works in the world at that point. Somebody who's well organized and has a high level of faithfulness to you, and should be able to navigate diverse personalities and be a bit of a diplomat, and yet have backbone enough to stand up against anybody who might try to pressure them to do something that you're not wanting to allow them to do. So that's the successor trustees. The person for the power of attorney for financial management. Power of attorney means you're appointing somebody to make decisions for you in your absence, or because you can no longer make those decisions for yourself. And that's the same skill set for a power of attorney for financial management. The power of attorney, a person that you will appoint for medical and healthcare decision-making and end-of-life care decisions, that should be somebody who has the emotional ability to do whatever's going to be necessary for you from a medical standpoint. You don't want to name somebody in that role if it comes down to terminating life support for you, that they will be so guilt-ridden that they will just suffer with that for the rest of their lives. Some people can do that because they have the ability to emotionally back up and go through the thought process. This isn't my choice. This is their choice. I'm just carrying out their choices. It should also be somebody who has some level of sophistication with the medical establishment, such that they can navigate the industry, because medicine anymore is truly an industry. It's not so much profession, it's an industry. And there are always secondary agendas being run when somebody is in the hospital. As I'm standing here today, my daughter-in-law's mother was taken by ambulance to a hospital about 10 days ago. She had a bleeding ulcer that ruptured. She was septic. She wasn't going to the doctor. My daughter-in-law said, I'm going to call you in the morning. If you don't answer, I'm calling the police. And that's exactly what happened. They found her. She'd been in there a week, and she coded twice on the way to the hospital. So my daughter-in-law is there. She's trying to get the care for her. They want to let her die because her mother is so toxic from the infection and everything else that's going on, and they got all these heavy-duty antibiotics on board for her. She's not making any sound decisions, and yet the doctor's going, well, she knows who she is, and she's competent to make these decisions. They got her on heavy-duty narcotics because they just did a major surgery. You can't execute powers of attorney within 12 hours of having been given a narcotic pain medication because you don't have a clear mind. So she had to push back against the doctors. And my daughter-in-law is a licensed professional fiduciary in California. So she deals with this. This was more difficult. This is her mom. So she had not as much emotional distance to be able to make those decisions, but she finally succeeded. Mom is on the mend now. She's feeling better. Oh, please just listen to my daughter. So it's very mutable as somebody is going through a medical crisis as to what their mental function and capacity and understanding of their situation is going to be. So you have to have somebody filling that role for you that is not going to just do what the medical types want them to do. It needs to be somebody, as I said, that if they don't have a level of sophistication financially, not financially, but on a medical basis, they're smart enough to ask the questions. What are the plus, the risks and benefits of this course of treatment? What are the likely consequences of it? What kind of pain situation might be dealing with? What kind of functionality is the person going to have? The need to ask probing questions of people in the white coats that are not used to being questioned about pretty much anything. So that's the skill set for somebody you're going to appoint at your medical power of attorney. And bottom line is, whoever you're putting in these positions, you need to absolutely trust them with everything, because you literally are. You're trusting them with everything you have in the world and your very life. So these are very momentous decisions, and they should not be done on a knee-jerk reaction kind of a situation. Well, the oldest child, no. Because it also should be determined by what is the nature of your relationship with each of these people. I really hesitate. I'm a bit more cynical than Jerry, in that I believe that there are people in families that are toxic, and people have cut off or limited their contact with those people for good reasons. And this happened in my family, when somebody is very ill, expected to pass or has passed, there's going to be those people who wanted nothing to do with anybody, and they're going to show up and they're going to have their hand out. And you need to be able to account for that in your estate plan. You can specifically disinherit people that you don't want to receive anything out of your estate. And nobody has a right to anything in your estate until you're gone and you don't need it anymore. And the expectation that somebody should have is they should have no expectation. Use your last dime on the day you pass, But there's a lot of entitled mentality out in the world right now. And while we as parents and grandparents may want to make sure that we leave something for our children, so that you want to bless them, give them a windfall that will help change the course of their life potentially, or just something that is going to allow them to remember you. I have more skepticism about the latecomers to a relationship that have been estranged for years, that haven't been in contact, that don't care about what's going on with you, don't bother to even ask questions about your life. And obviously, maintaining relationships is a two-way street. But, sometimes people cut people out of their lives for a very, very, very good reason. So an estate plan allows you to control that. And most of us appreciate life when we have a sense of control. And how many of you feel like you're totally in control of all these issues as you sit here today? Nobody. Okay. So there's work to be done. So I do this on a very personalized basis. I tell people I will prepare a customized estate plan for you that addresses all of your concerns.
This is Jerry Pletica with Touching Hearts at Home here in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. For more great content, please subscribe.